Hi everybody. So, just come from the gym. I'm going to make my shake and prepare my dinner, wash up some dishes. So, I plan to give you the story time behind the couple in the Dominican Republic while I prepare dinner. Well, on a fly. So, come on, let's do it. For my shake, I usually use a red banana and some oats. And if I have Herbalife, I'll put it in there. So that going in the blender, right this one. Throw in 2 scoops of this. Well, 2.5 scoops. The truth is, after I make one of these, I'm not hungry, but I still need to make something to eat. You gotta eat. So, remember I told you guys that while I was in the DR, and after that mishap of reaching into the country and not getting the job, I had to look for ways how to survive, how to get around, make money. And so I remember going to this academy where they would teach English to other places. They'll send you out to other firms and whatnot. And there was this couple there that they were trying to find out information about the whole program, what they should do in order to get in. But they came up on something that they didn't like, which was the package, the payment package that the firm was offering them. I'm going for water. So the payment package the firm was offering them, they didn't like it. And so they saw me there and immediately engaged me in a conversation and wanted for me to give them the class on a one-on-one basis, which should have been in my head a red flag. But when you're young, you are in a position that you can't really decline everything that comes your way. And so I remember talking to them, we came to an agreement, and the payment was settled. So the classes started, everything was going good. I had to travel from my house. So Marky, I had to take 2 transports in order to get there. So I take a taxi first, I take a bike taxi, then I take a taxi or a bus, and then another taxi to get to the firm. So it would be after their job is finished, then I would have to, go to their office and teach them French. So said, so done. Everything started off well. The job, the classes were going on fine. They were learning and so on. But I remember it came to a point where, because of some job obligations, they couldn't meet one of the classes in the week, and so they asked me if I could substitute for the weekend, which I agreed. And I said, okay, no problem, thinking that it would have been a one-off situation. So we decided on the weekend class. They gave me their address, where to go, and so on. At that point, I didn't have much, experience in moving around, and I didn't know where I was going really. But based on the directions that they gave to me, I was able to find my way. After, going to different houses and calling different places, finally I met up on them. Give me a sec, I'm gonna blend. Alright, so finish blend up and everything. I'm gonna have my shake. But let the story continue. So I went to their house and I had to call, and didn't get any answer. Eventually, when they opened, I went up, and it so happened that they weren't ready for class. So I had to sit in the living room. I had to wait until finally they were like, okay, let's go. We did the class and everything. Now I realized that a few weeks on end it was going like that, where I had to go on the weekend to do the classes. Sometimes in the week, but mostly on the weekends after that. Which I was like, okay, fine. Since we broke them bad already, weekend it is. One of the things that they didn't do, and which I didn't like, was the fact that they were always late. So even though I was there on time, they had things doing, whatnot, and that would just throw me off a whole heap. While I drink my shake, I'm gonna be cooking chicken. Don't judge me, but the chicken's already seasoned. I had cut it up already and seasoned it up. Put it in the fridge. So now I'm gonna put it in the pot and make it go on simmer down. Alright, so yeah, I was doing the classes and everything, but the fact that they were always late, or most times they were late, it threw me off big time. So already in my mind I was deciding that I was going to be doing the last month with them and move on to something else. Then came the time when I was supposed to be paid at the end of the month. But because I didn't have a bank account, mark you, I was still in the process of getting my paperwork after being denied the job that I originally had gone to the Dominican Republic for. And so I didn't have, everything in place in order to open a bank account in the Dominican Republic as yet. And for that reason, my payments were, being handed to me in cash, which I didn't mind. But this particular time though, they were like, when you come today, we're going to give you the money. And in my mind, I was like, okay, fine, no problem. So I, remember that day I got dressed and I left out. I mean, the whole place was gloomy and dark, seemed like it was going to rain. But I'm responsible. So I'm going to go to the class. On my way out, I took the bike taxi, then I took another taxi, and I went. But on that particular day, I only had one-way fare. So the fare that I had was just to go, knowing that I would have been paid on my way back. So I was like, okay, fine. But my mom always tell me, make sure you walk with your Bex money. Walk with your Bex money simply means that you should always have spare, which I didn't have. And so I went, and for some reason my phone service wasn't working, and the rain started to pour, and I didn't have a way to get to them, because where the bus let me off, I would have normally walked, but because the rain started to pour so heavily, I couldn't take a taxi because I didn't have what to pay the taxi. I just had to walk in the rain, hoping that when I got to the company, they would have been there, do the class, and head on my way out. Nothing like that. They weren't there. and efforts to reach them, oof, even worse. I mean, the rain was pouring, I was getting wet. It was just chaotic. That day was just really gloomy. What did I have to do? Well, I had to just take my shame, my wet self like a rat, and I walked almost 2.5 hours to get home, because I couldn't take a bus, I couldn't take a taxi, I couldn't trust, I don't know anybody for that matter, and so I had to walk home. Yeah, I had to. And the worst part was it was raining. It was terribly raining, but what was I going to do? I'm not going to sleep on the streets, so I walked home. Eventually I was paid, yes, but that was it for me. That was like the straw that broke the camel's back. I said, this is going to be the last. And yes, after that they called me, they wanted me to come back and all of that, but I declined and I said, on good terms, of course, because you always have to be professional about what you do. And that's what I did. Declined the offer, and yeah, something else popped up. So there you go. That's the story of the couple.